Awesome.
Nailed it.
See you around. You feel that they will come.
Right.
So that's not the case anymore.
Through that suffering and through that community, I became a better Catholic.
Welcome back. I'm Darnell Miller, and today I'm here in Dallas, Texas at the Evangelical Catholic Conference, Priests for an Apostolic Age. And today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Sam Mazzarelli. Sam, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So we want to talk about the conference, Priests for an Apostolic Age. You're not a priest, but what can you tell us about living in an apostolic age? What does that mean for us?
Yeah, well, I think first it's exciting, but it's also messy. And I think that that's what this conference is about, right? It's talking about the opportunity, but also the reality, right? And the reality can be uncomfortable for us, but if we focus on the opportunity, right, I think it's going to take the handcuffs off. It's going to allow for us to operate as a church in a completely different way, right? I go to Ephesians 4, right? And it says that in order to build up saints, right, God gave us different gifts. He made some of us to be apostles, some of us to be prophets, some of us to be evangelists, others to be shepherds, and then finally some of us to be teachers. And I think as we move into the apostolic mission and age, it's going to take all of us to understand what our gifting is so that we can work together and to get through that mess. And on the other side of the mess, it's going to be amazing.
And I think for me, the fundamental shift comes in responsibility. The laity has a responsibility to step up, to act, to go out and evangelize, whereas it may have seemed like, oh, back in the day, it was the priest's job to do everything. Like, we are a part of the body of Christ. We are part of that work. And so what are you and your organization doing to take on that responsibility?
Yeah, thanks. You know, we're working so hard with so many other apostolates, right? But our focus is really threefold, right? We want to ignite the parish. We want to embolden the clergy. We want to strengthen them so they can live out the giftedness of their vocation. And then finally, we want to help forge the future, right? So we want to be forward thinking and looking beyond just that next step. And so as an organization, that's what we've set out to do. And one of the ways that we do that is we walk alongside our clergy, our bishops, our priests, our deacons, but also our lay leaders within the parish, right? And we help them get in the mess, right? We help them ask the hard questions, right, that nobody wants to ask. We help them be able to address issues with understanding how to receive and give feedback, right? And that's just a culture that we're not used to doing.
And so in your work, what have you seen in terms of changes happen in parishes who are undergoing this, who are looking at themselves and like asking themselves the hard questions, who are stepping into that mess? How has it helped them grow and flourish?
Yeah, I think with any church, whether they would think that they're thriving, doing well, or if they know that they're in a place for more support, I think the first step is just to realize, hey, there's a different game at play. We can't keep doing the things that we've always been doing and expect different results, right? And so the parishes that have really been able to step back to look at, okay, what is our strategy? What are our priorities, and how does that align with the needs of the time right now? That's the first part, right? To envision what needs to happen. But the hard part is implementation, right? And so our organization wants to help them to envision that future, but we want to help them implement it. And that's really where the mess happens, right? And where organizations, apostolates or the chancery or a local parish, where there's willingness to dedicate the resources, both on the finance, but then also on the human, and to reorganize the effort, that's where we're seeing extreme effort and fruit.
And so it's fundamentally changing the way parishes and the communities are active or activated.
Yeah, but you need to know where they're at first,
yeah,
right? And so one of the things that we offer the church is called the Disciple Maker Index. Mm-hmm. And this is a 75-question, close-ended survey that any parish can take, right? And we've had about 500,000 Catholics take this survey across the country. So it might be one of the largest data sets on Catholic life today. And these are the Catholics still coming, right? These aren't the ones that are not coming. And what it does is it helps a pastor and his leadership team or a bishop and his leadership team to look at the landscape of their parish. Okay, what are our strengths? What's going really well? But where are our needs? And what do we need to do to be able to address those needs, right? I won't name the place, but a place that I'm very familiar with just took the survey and they thought that they were doing so well with hospitality. They thought that above and beyond the other churches in the diocese, but also the country, they would have been ahead of the game, right? Well, in fact, they were actually 10 percentage points less than the average parish in the U.S. And we're already not doing a good job with hospitality, so that actually says something. But without taking this snapshot, they wouldn't have had the real live data to know, actually, this is an issue. We thought it was a strength, but it's indeed a weakness. Okay, what do we need to do, right? And so those are some of the things that we try to offer for parishes and for priests and for bishops.
I think of the illusion of like finally encountering or seeing ourselves like in our prayer life, where we're like, when we think we're doing all these things, and then as we like an examination of conscience, like when you've done like a really good one, and you're just like, oh, these are blind spots. These are things I did not know about myself, and it's only then that you can make positive change. So it's being seen and seeing and understanding that it's required before you can take that next step forward.
I think that's an excellent analogy. But when you first build that habit, it's not very comfortable, is it?
No, it's not.
So that's part of what we do, right? We want to get in that mess, and we want to accompany our pastors and our bishops to say, hey, we know this is uncomfortable. We know it's going to hurt, but we need to do it. If we're going to move into this apostolic mission in this age, we have to ask the hard questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk to me today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
All right. And thank you for watching.